Here we are. Welcome back to part 2, the Agamemnon game review. The Warlock Journal. Today's broadcast is being recorded on the 13th of September, 2018. It's 2:56 p.m. Eastern Daylight Savings Time. The video was captured on the 2nd of September, 2018. This is going to be part 2 in the series. Continuing on with the Microsoft game DVR, it's lagging there. But everything else is fine, so we're going to continue on. One, because we can't reshoot the video, and two, that's what life is about. Challenges and overcoming them. If anything, this will be a monument to how Microsoft products suck. There's always something with their products. You never get 100% effort out of their products. It's always like 80% of it works fine for 80% of what you're doing, and then the remaining 20%, which is the important part, it screws out all it. In this case, the audio. At this point, I'm tinkering around with details. It was working fine with lurch. But this night it was my second night using it. Trying to get a better understanding of it and how to set it up properly for my needs. I think right now we're collecting these animal parts. I think this is where I actually read the tutorial. Isn't it always you're trying to read something important and some animal comes up and attacks you? Now, when I sit down to do the voiceovers for these video sessions, game sessions, I never really script them out. I don't really see how you can script it out, and the two methodologies merge. I mean, unless you know exactly what's going to occur in the game, it's very difficult to script it out. And at the same time, it's not, for me, an organic process. I'd rather go experience it. And then when you're sitting down and doing the voiceover, you've already experienced it and you're just reviewing what you went over. And gives you a chance to see your character from a different perspective outside of the gameplay. And I think you learn things as you go along. I know I do. I know for everyone else, but as I sit back and observe our play, the next day or a couple days later, it gives you a chance to study your game mechanics and study your mental processes in the game from an outside perspective. Still trying to figure out a way how to, at least in this video, how to set up so it's showing my spells correctly. Or itemizing my attacks correctly is what I'm looking for. The way it was Skada did it. So here we go. See all these different data fields that are for your query here, but I'm not really understanding why I, the game player and streamer, would use all these features. I think if they were looking to improve the add-on for the end user, I would create 2 different pages. One that has all the general stuff you need, 5 basic things you need to do, and then all that advanced stuff they should move to a different screen. Again, that sound that you're hearing isn't the actual game. The game is fine. It's the Microsoft game DVR screwing up the sound. As I'm walking through the wilderness here, trying to devise ways that if a rogue were to jump out and start attacking me, what would I do? What would be my defense be? What would my contingency plan be? And with this character, I was working on practical methods to defend against that. And right here is where I'm starting to think about if I used a Fel Guard. And why I was thinking about the Fel Guard is because for the Demonologist, the Fel Guard is your signature demon. It's exclusive to the Demonologist. Why I think they put the Summon Fel Guard on the talents is for the other 2 Warlock specs. Is they really didn't have access to that. And although the talent trees are a little different. But so actually they're a lot different. But for affliction and destruction. But their demons are more designed to support their efforts, whereas with Demonology, your demons are the priority, and you as a DPS are kind of taking a backseat to that. Doing all these work for the Mug here. This is where, for me, the story gets interesting because they start going into is it? I call him Stout Man, but that's not his name. But they start going into Chen's background a little more. And it starts to become interesting for me as a role player. Storm Stout is his name, but for some reason I want to call him a Stout Man. Or Stoutheim. I know that's not his name, but that's what I call him. Some reason I can't remember a Storm Stout. It seems such an easy name to remember, but I just can't remember the name. Now here's where you go feed these guys these turnips that are painted like carrots. I like their response. The little varmint's response. They're like, ugh. Someone fooled us. You're like, who would do this? Who paints a turnip to look like a carrot? I think one of those dudes end up dying.
This is fantastic. Strong food. Oh, thanks. Most folk round here prefer it over anything from that Storm Stout brewery.
Wait, did you say Storm Stout Brewery?
You know of no Storm Stout here in Canada? Well, shoot. Of course. They're the biggest brewing family in the whole valley. My family. My ancestral home. Wait a dang minute. You're a Storm Stout? Yes, I am. Where is the Storm Stout brewery? I must see for my should just keep going down this road. But I am going. Neil, you stay here. I will come back for you.
He left me with the weird mud guy. Uh-huh. Take me with you.
So, Chen there goes off to meet his ancestors or relatives, and he leaves us to babysit Lily here.
Hey, look at that waterfall.
She does some sightseeing. Yes, that's what we're going to end up doing, at least up until we've captured about a week and a half worth of videos now using the Microsoft game DVR. So on playback here, we're going to have to just turn the sound down as much as possible so it minimizes the white noise that's being generated by the game playback. I might have to replace it with different kind of audio.
Careful with that there vibe. She's a bit leaky.
This was a weird quest. You had to go over here with the file, and it had a little leak in there, and it took me a while to figure out what to actually do. Then I kind of got the hang of it, and we were able to complete the mission. But Most of the mission was completed by just pure accident. This series ended up being a 3-parter. And, I decided to keep the cameras rolling because with the game DVR going, it wasn't expending as much memory as Fraps, so I decided we could shoot a little bit longer. Since we weren't going to need 4 hours to process the video, we could use that time to capture another 30 minutes of gameplay. Right, so here we are, continuing on our adventure. I'm gonna bring up the volume again. Was left for a while and came back and took a break and continue recording at this point. You can't see that, but I went ahead and did some experiments with the game sound, and increased the speed at which the Windows game DVR records at, and at least the quality that it records at in it. On playback of the video I captured tonight being the 13th of September, I didn't really hear any problem with the audio, so I wonder if the audio setting is just too low to capture the sound. Because it does record in a MP4, which is a compression format, which if you record at a low audio, it can impact the overall quality when the video is compressed. I am going to get the SamDcam stuff. I downloaded the free trial, but it only had a 10-minute sample. So to get your evaluation out of it, but it seemed pretty good. That tool can record the entire desktop, so that might be useful. For some other projects that I want to work on. So here I am trying to carry this vial back, but it's leaking, and it took me a while to figure out what to actually do. But so I ended up wasting a lot of time running back and forth. But you know, that's how you learn in these games. A lot of these things are like little puzzles or little tinkering, and then have to find a different way to do things. Here's an alliance guy here. I hate alliance guys because they don't just like in PvP don't say, hey, let's PvP, and you know, they come in, they sneak attack you while you're engaged with the quest givers and stuff. I don't like yeah. No sport in it whatsoever, just bam. Sneak attack. It's okay because once you get used to people sneaking attack you, you learn from each sneak attack and you improve. And eventually, if your side is used to always being ganked, then that'll pay off later in the warfront. I took a break from recording and then went and played some World of Warcraft. And now I'm all recharged. Rained earlier today, it was thundering, so I'm glad I stopped recording. That would have impacted the recording. I don't like to stream and when there's thunderstorms in the area, it can impact your equipment, and I don't want to risk getting all my equipment destroyed.
Oh, hi there.
So for the next couple of videos that I've recorded, it's going to have these sound issues, so I hope people will bear in mind. You can still get all the important stuff out of the video, but
So long, man.
and try to minimize the sound as much as possible. But it's not your system, it's the Windows game DVR acting up. I've kind of figured out what to do here. You just gotta go quickly, click on as many of these things as you can till you reach the required amount, and then it stops leaking. So what you have to do is just swim around this lake here, or river, and grab as many of those patches as possible before the vial runs out of liquid. Thing is they're spaced apart, so you have to find a spot where they're very close together and you can just go point by point. I kind of figured that out after running back to the thing several times and failing. The next weekend, I plan to, the weekend of the, 15th and 16th, plan to start doing the Alliance video capturing. And, with this character, I'm going to go do some of the, Mista of Pandera special events, especially the Battle of Theramore. And the sacking of Nighthold. Some cinematics I'm trying to put together that tie up all these stories.
What? We're done already? Are you sure you don't want to keep waiting in this water in my eyes?
This last clip, it's only like a minute and a couple of minutes, so I decided to tack it on the end of part 2 rather than make a part 3. So we're going to finish that out, but I'm planning to make my own little illustrations as a project for test project for some other stuff I want to do, and I want to create some illustrations and use it and to tell some of the stories that link up all these expansions together in my own little illustration techniques that I want to try out. Thought this would be a good way to do it and not get a copyright infringement.
Hello.
Well, that's gonna do it for this week's episode of Warlock Journal featuring the Lydia Marie. We'll see you next time and take care.